Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking all things Keep Cool and Soothe, that cult favourite Korean skincare brand which fell spectacularly from grace around 3 or 4 months ago when their bamboo sun essence failed its independent testing and they resorted to bullying, threats and intimidation in order to protect their brand. All the things that a brand really just shouldn't be doing. Well, they are back, and not only do they have an announcement of a new sunscreen to replace the failed bamboo sun essence, but they've also issued a full apology. So we're going to pick it apart and have a look. Have they done enough in terms of their apology to deserve a second chance? Something I believe passionately that we should afford brands when they do the right thing. And what do we know so far about that new sunscreen launch, and should we be excited about it? So if you want to know a little bit more about Keep Cool and Soothe and their response and apology, keep on watching. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail around the backstory and the recent history around Keep Cool and Soothe because I've actually summarised it in a video which I'll leave a link to up there. Check that out if you want to know a little bit more about the brand and the background, or just to refresh your memory. But about mid last year, Purito, which is another Korean skincare brand, they had two cult favourite sunscreens which fell foul of independent testing, which showed them to be offering SPFs lower than Purito were claiming. Whilst Purito acted responsibly, they issued full cash refunds to anyone who wanted one, withdrew the products from sale and issued a full unreserved apology. It still left a lot of people questioning the Korean sunscreen market. One of the brands which did come into question was Keep Cool and Soothe, which had a very similar manufacturing process, used very similar UV filters and had a very similar texture to the Purito ones which had failed their testing. This led to a lot of people questioning whether the claims of a 50+ SPF factor on the Keep Cool and Soothe bamboo sun essence were actually right. Keep Cool and Soothe responded by issuing letters and emails threatening legal action, intimidating people and bullying them into retracting any claims they made about their product. They doubled down hard and said categorically there was no issue with their sun product and that they 100% faith that it was delivering the SPF 50+, which they advertised. Well, of course, their turn came round for independent testing, and before the results were even announced, they Keep Cool and Soothe withdrew the product from market, said they had a few doubts around whether it was working properly, and that they'd issue a voucher refund for anyone who wanted it. This was like the worst. It was like polar opposite to how Purito responded. There was no real apology. They never acknowledged that they bullied and intimidated people. They never really said sorry for their product failing to deliver, and they issued a voucher instead of a cash refund, which nobody wants. Who wants a voucher for a brand which you've lost faith and trust in? Nobody. So it was like the polar opposite to Purito. Now, cut to 4 months later, they've actually appeared on Instagram. The CEO has written a personal letter to announce the launch of a new sunscreen to replace the bamboo sun essence later on this year. With that, he's also issued an apology. So let's take a look at that apology and work out whether we actually want to give Keep Cool and Soothe a second chance. I've said on this channel before, I have been given so many second chances in life, and I do think we should give brands second chances the way that we would do people, providing they take responsibility for things, they own it, they put things right, and the consumer is at the heart of everything they do after a scandal. They've issued an apology which says they apologise for not living up to their brand values, which is to enrich the skin and our overall well-being. They've said that they've looked into what's gone before and that they're working on doing things to make sure it can't happen again. The whole first page of this apology, which I'll leave a link to below if you want to read it out for yourselves, really documents what they have done as a brand to look into things. They throw just about everyone under the bus. So the Korean Drug Administration is called out for approving their product, which, you know, obviously so they do have to be accountable for approving a product which then fell foul of testing, but a lot of blame is placed on them. Keep Cool and Soothe also place a lot of blame on the manufacturer. Yes, they lied, they gave misleading information, but ultimately, I don't think you can outsource your responsibility. You put your consumers' trust in that manufacturer, and you have to do things to make sure that they're living up to expectations. They didn't clearly do any due diligence or really take enough notice of their manufacturing processes to make sure that they were delivering the right product for the consumer. So they really failed to protect us, and that's not actually acknowledged in this apology in a proper way. They do say that whilst they all these things have gone in the past, with their new SPF that they're going to be launching, they're going to do 2 rounds of independent testing, one in Korea and one outside of Korea, which I think we should applaud. And this very much mirrors what Purito said in their statement a few weeks ago, launching their new SPF, which I link a video up there that I did covering that if you want to check that out. In terms of what was actually said, I don't think they've owned up at any point to saying This was all on us. You know what? We failed the consumer. We gave you assurances when in our own minds we had doubts. Because when they withdrew the product from sale, they did say they had doubts. When a couple of weeks before, they said categorically they had 100% confidence in their product. And so they never really apologized for misleading us as consumers. They never shared their doubts that they had. They just doubled down hard. And I think in all of this, they've never really taken accountability for what's happened. And there's no real transparency. They've not shared with us what they've properly found, how this happened, and they've not shared what they're going to do in the future beyond that 2 rounds of testing to actually show that it doesn't happen again. I'd like to know, are they going to release the results of that independent testing on their new product so we can look at it ourselves? That'd be a really good step forward in improving that transparency, but that's not mentioned in this statement. All the way through, I kind of feel they're looking as for scapegoats, people they can throw under the bus to account for their own failings. The Korean Drug Administration, the manufacturer that they trusted and employed to produce this product, they were to blame. Yes, they are partly to blame, but also there's never real accountability taken that the core issue lied with Keep Cool and Soothe. So far, page 1 down, I think it's a bit of a non-apology. We've not really got anything. It's more of a promotional piece for their new sunscreen and to try and buy people's favour so they'll buy their latest development rather than actually apologising for everything that's gone before. Right at the bottom, in the final paragraph, and I think this speaks volumes about how this company perceives what they've done, we have an apology to people that they bullied, intimidated and threatened with legal action. This wasn't just me. I got this email and I just laughed it off. I did a video about it because I just thought, do you know what? This is actually laughable that any brand, would send a legal threat from their marketing department. Who does that? Send it from your legal department or don't bother. And the idea that they could threaten someone like myself in the UK from Korea for just sharing an opinion it's just nonsense. It was all nonsense. However, it did lead to a lot of people feeling really anxious about the situation, taking down videos, in some cases taking down their social media platforms because they were worried how this would impact on them financially and their wider family. It was just a whole toxic mess. I think it actually speaks volumes that they've just dedicated a paragraph to the actual apology, and it's right at the end of a 2-page promotional piece saying how amazing their sunscreen is going to be in the future. I'm going to look down when I read this because I've got it word for word because I want to obviously give them credit for reading out the correct words and not miscommunicating anything to you. So this is what it says. We deeply regret the frustration from miscommunication with some content creators. Strong words like legal and warned should not have been used when we requested a halt to the spreading of misleading information. We take responsibility for the unprofessionalism shown. So that's it. That's your apology. That's all you're getting. And let's just briefly pick this apart. So they refer to it as frustration. I don't think that legal threats, intimidation and bullying lead to frustration. It led to humour in me, I just laughed it off. But for a lot of people, it led to anxiety. It led to people really, really worried and concerned. It can damage people's self-esteem and mental health. All of this went on. People don't receive a legal threat and think, oh, that's a bit frustrating. I just think they're trying to underplay the gravity of the whole situation. They then use the term miscommunication. This is like a masterstroke in how to non-apologise. This is like the 101 on issuing a non-apology. So miscommunication is where you accidentally copy your boss into that meme, that slightly risque meme that you're sending around the office. Miscommunication is when you click send before you've actually finished your whole email. Miscommunication isn't a 2-page litany of legal threats and intimidation sent to hundreds of people. That's not miscommunication. That's deliberate, it's unprofessional, and at its basis, it's bullying. And so to call it miscommunication, I think, is to try and make light of the situation, when really I don't think they've shown they actually grasp how serious what they did was and the impact it's had on people. When they also say that they regret the terms used to stop the spread of misinformation. Again, this is like, we're sorry that you felt something, because they're not admitting that what actually was said was totally accurate. It wasn't false information that was being spread. People said they have doubts that this product is living up to expectations, and it didn't. By their own admission, it didn't lead to the outcomes that they promised. And so actually, to still double down and say it was misinformation was totally wrong. And it's kind of them placing the blame on the influencers that rightly called this rubbish out. So again, so far, not actually seen an apology. And then at the end, they say they accept responsibility for the unprofessionalism. Well, of course you do. Who else is going to be responsible? You sent it from your own email account. Like, no one expects you to accept responsibility. It's just a given that you're responsible. When you send something from a work email account from your marketing department, of course you're responsible. So I don't know why they felt the need to accept, the one thing that they'll actually accept responsibility for is the unprofessionalism. When that was given, it was obviously their fault because it came from their brand. So I just think that's a masterstroke in how not to actually apologise, to place the blame on the people that felt a certain way, and to really just say, we're sorry that you were offended by this. You know, we're not actually sorry we did any of it. So when it comes down to it, I don't think Keep Cool and Soothe are worthy of a second chance. I always try to give second chances on this channel because I do think we should take second looks and not just, you know, write people off after one episode or one scandal, but how they respond to that is really important in working out whether they deserve that second chance. There's been no accountability taken. There's no proper apology given. They've not put the consumer first because they've still not actually told us what the SPF was. They just need to tell us what the SPF was tested at so we know what we were using in our skincare routine. They've not even given us the decency to share that information with us, so they're not interested in being transparent. They're not interested in the consumer. They're only interested in covering themselves and selling their future product. So will I be buying their SPF that launches later this year? Absolutely not. I'll be first in queue for the Purito sunscreens because they did everything right. I just don't think this brand deserves a second chance or a second look. They've done nothing that actually shows they get what's going on and how bad they've actually been. They just kind of want to blame other people and protect themselves. From what we know of the SPF, I imagine it's going to be an SPF of 50 like the Purito ones will be because it's easier to formulate that elegant light touch feel SPF without adding alcohol at an SPF 30 than it is an SPF 50. They'll be cruelty free, which is, you know, is a tick in the box because they are a cruelty free brand and I'll applaud them for that at least. And I imagine it'll come out at a very similar price point to what the other Keep Cool and Soothe products were, which is, I'd say, sort of that mid-market. I don't think they're going to come out with anything exciting or anything that's going to make me want to gravitate to such just a bad brand. I don't think they have a particularly good ethos when it comes to protecting the consumer and supporting the individual. I think they want to just protect themselves at the basis of it, and this whole saga has just proven that a little bit more, as does this non-apology. But I'd love to know, what are your thoughts and feelings? So leave me a comment below on whether you're looking forward to trying out whatever new product they come out with, and what your thoughts and feelings on the apology / non-apology is. Leave me a comment below. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're staying safe and well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.